Hi, my name is Sheena Eastep, and this is my research project over the Heavener Runestone. I'm sorry about the glare on my laptop, but I will post it to where you can kind of go through the PowerPoint yourself and see the pictures a little bit better. In 1832, a Choctaw Indian hunting party found a massive stone with strange markings in what is now Heavener, Oklahoma. The stone stands over 12 feet tall and 10 feet wide. There were 8 angular figures chiseled into the face of the stone. The Choctaws were not sure of the meaning, so they took it as a warning and left the valley where the stone stands. Since its discovery, it has been a topic of debate. Many scholars believe it is a Viking artifact. However, some strongly believe it is a 20th century creation. And this is a picture I took of the entrance of the Heavener Runestone. And it's neat because from here you kind of go down into a valley, down some steps. And we went on a really rainy day, and so all the water was coming in. So it was a really neat experience. Through the years, the people who came into Heavener would find the stone. Often it was referred to as the Indian Rock. Many of the local people believed that the Native Americans in the area were responsible for the carvings. In 1923, a local teacher named C.F. Kimmerer decided to write to the Smithsonian Institute about the stone. The stone was not decipherable to anyone in the area, Choctaw natives included, so he believed another group had to have done the carvings. He sent a letter to the Smithsonian Institute, and on the letter he recreated the 8 carved figure. And this is a picture I got off the Heavener Runestone website, and this is C.F. Kimmerer, the one that wrote the Smithsonian Institute first about the runestone. This is his letter, and basically he was just saying, I was exploring the neighborhood and we came upon a large rock, and he actually attached a picture of the 8 figures that he found. This is a picture. Again, it's kind of hard to see, but if you go on the PowerPoint presentation, it'll be a little bit easier to see some of the carved figures. The Smithsonian Institute replied to the letter saying they believed the figures were from a runic alphabet. They were unable to decipher the runes because the second and the 8 figures seemed to be from a Scandinavian alphabet, and the rest were Gothic runic alphabet characters. The Institute referred to Kimmerer to a Germanic language professor at Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Hermann Kollitz. Dr. Kollitz researched the runestone and wrote back that he believed the letters were Scandinavian Gothic runes that meant Gnomes Valley. His claim meant that the stone carvings would date all the way back to 650 AD. In 1928, Kimmerer took a 12-year-old student, Gloria Farley, to see what is known as the Indian Rock. Years later, she was an adult living in Ohio when the Kensington runestone was found in Minnesota. This prompted her to go back to Heavener, Oklahoma, and study the runestone. She contacted Frederick J. Pohl of New York City to help because he had written several books on Norse exploration. Through his studies, he had discovered that Norse Vikings from Greenland had traveled to colonize the North American East Coast from about 1002 to 1010 AD. And this is a picture of Gloria Farley in her older years whenever she was still studying the rock. Since the years of Farley's studies, there have been many people to try to disprove the theory that the carvings were of Norse descent. The truth is, we still do not know how far the Vikings actually traveled. The problem with Viking artifacts in North America is that there has been cases of some artifacts being found fraudulent. However, in 1961, a biography of North American runic material counted 50 runic artifact sites, 100 inscriptions, and all around 75 artifacts. All these historical sites and objects are still considered controversial. And this was a poster about the Norsemen's journey to the valley where the Heavener Runestone is. And that I took that picture down when we were by the runestone. A Swedish professor of Scandinavian languages at Uppsala University, Henrik Williams, traveled to Oklahoma to see the Heavener Runestone. He had studied runic languages for over 30 years and claims that the first use of the alphabet appeared around 100 AD. He claimed Oklahoma has the highest concentration of runestones in North America, but he does not believe that the Heavener stone is a Viking artifact. He said just the sheer size of the stone made it one of the most impressive that he had ever seen. Williams claims that the letters would date back to the earliest of the 4 runic systems known as Elder Futhark. He says that the timeline is off because that system was used from 100 to 700 AD, which means that it was about 50 years off of the Heavener Runestone. But he also said that he's not for sure of how to date these, so it kind of seemed like he wasn't 100% sure of what he was saying. Well, I visited the Heavener Runestone a couple of weeks ago during what you could call a torrential downpour. I took this picture and you can see the water's just coming down the steps, but we decided to make a memory out of it anyways. My husband, friends, and I thought about waiting off the rain, but we went ahead and went in. We grabbed our coats and umbrellas and trekked into Nome Valley to see the Runestone. Authentic or not, you can feel the historical significance when you visit the park. After my research and my visit to the park, I personally side with the people that believes it is a Viking artifact. I can see why the Vikings wanted to claim the land, and also the claims that it's a 20th century creation seem unfounded because Choctaw Indians inhabited the area at the time and they could not read the inscription. I've included some of my pictures to the visit to the Heavener Runestone, and I highly recommend making the trip. This is down by the Runestone, and as you can see, the water was pouring in. I don't know how much water there is normally, but it was really neat because this waterfall was filling this basin and it was overflowing, and the sidewalks were all full of water. This is a picture of me by the Runestone, and like they said, the Runestone's 12 feet tall, so this is just where the carvings are, and this picture is a little bit more close up, and you can see that better on the actual PowerPoint. And those are my citations. Thank you for watching.